Hello and welcome to our Pilates setup. Are you ready to begin? Excellent. So stand with feet hip width apart. Press your feet down into the floor. So equal weight in the balls of the feet and the heels, left and right. So pushing down, and as you push down with your feet, imagine yourself growing up through the ankles, pushing down with those feet. So growing up, ankles, calves, up through the thighs, growing tall and up through the hips and the lower back. Keep bringing yourself taller and taller, mid-back, through the shoulders, and finally the crown of the head itself pulling towards the ceiling. So we're now as tall as we possibly can be. Now take the shoulders and just shrug them back and down to make sure that they're sitting snugly and securely on top of our shoulder blades. So don't force them, just let them sit and rest naturally. Now the most important bit is to engage our core. Now our core for this engagement is the transversus abdominis muscle. It's that muscle that runs from the top of the hips around the lower ribs. So it's a big sheet of muscle like a belt. So we're going to tighten it like a belt all the way around, not just at the front. So coming tall again, pull that muscle in, pull that belt in around your body from the back round to the front. Squeeze it all in and squeeze as hard as you can. So really, really squeeze through that belt, and at the same time bring the pelvic floor up and squeeze that as well, so you can hardly do any more effort. Squeeze, 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 and now release to about 30% of that contraction. So we're still engaged, but we're not really squeezing too hard. You can feel that engagement around the core area. This is the level of engagement we're going to keep throughout the whole session today. Okay, keeping that height, keeping that engagement, we're going to walk the heels together, and we're going to start with heel lifts. Just a little warm up as we come up onto our heels, so onto our toes, raising our heels off the floor. Can you get both heels off at the same time? So coming up on both as we swap our feet over. Now at the same time, keep the legs going. We're going to look over one shoulder, squeezing into the neck and upper back, and move the head horizontally as we go round the other way and squeeze lightly. Round to the front and round the other side again, squeezing perhaps a little bit more range of motion out. And now round to the second side. This time when we come back, we're going to drop the chin towards the chest and roll through in a semicircle. So we're going to bring the upper back in as well. And we're going to come back the other way. So chin towards the chest, feel the stretch in the neck and the upper back. Keep those legs going as we bring the head towards the front. And now we're going to keep the feet still. We're going to move them to around hip width apart. Come tall, keep engaged, keep the hips and shoulders pointing to the front. We're going to do some leg curls. So this is all about the hamstrings. Weight in one leg and slowly squeeze the heel towards the body and down. And the other side, so keep the knee pointing downwards. This is a slow version of an exercise and a warm-up that we do very often, but this time a little bit more considered and really squeezing into those hamstrings. If you put your hands on the back of the thighs, you will feel that the only thing moving at the moment is the hamstrings, which are pulling the lower leg up. Keeping the knee pointing downwards means that it's just the hamstrings that are firing. 2 more. 1 and 2. Excellent. Now keep the feet feet hip width apart. We're going to mobilize the shoulders now. So fix the hips, engage the core. We're going to move the hands out to the front, palms downwards, shoulders just a little bit forwards. And now we're going to bring the elbows back, squeeze the shoulder blades together and forwards again. So pushing the shoulder blades apart, bring them together. So keep the shoulders down, but just stretch forward, squeeze them back. Open up the shoulder blades, squeeze them back. So keep the spine neutral. Don't lean and move the hips. 2 more. And last one. Now come with the arms out the front. Reach here. We're going to do another movement for the shoulder blades. We're going to work diagonally. So coming up diagonally, squeeze and reach. And back to the center. Other diagonal as we reach as far as we can. So stretch and reach. Stretch and reach. We're going to do 4 more, 2 on each side. 1 and 2. And the last one each side. And to the front. Now we're going to bring the arms at shoulder height out to the side. Now time to really, really stretch and lengthen so you feel the whole of the stretch through the upper arm and the forearm. Now standing here, we're going to turn one palm up towards the ceiling and now the other one as we rotate, just moving and rotating the shoulders, mobilizing the rotator cuffs. So keep that length in the arms, so stretch out, keep rotating. Last 2. Now from here, keep the elbows high, bring the forearms up towards the ceiling and drop 1 down. So we're going to do that rotator cuff move again. This time, we've got a little bit more leverage so we can squeeze into those muscles. Be careful not to squeeze too much, it's quite an unstable joint, but just get that motion going. And 4, 3, 2, 1. Excellent. Bring the arms out again, this time with the palms facing forwards. So reach long, shoulders down, engage that core. Come tall. We're going to move the arms behind the body line if that works for you. If not, keep them in line with the body. You can feel the stretch through the chest and the front of the arms. At the same time, we're going to really push into those feet. Come tall through the body. And if you would like to, gently tilt the chin upwards so that we're now extending that spine. Breathe into that extension. We're stretching sideways and back and upwards at the same time. And now chin towards the chest as we curl back into it. Flexion of the spine, so big hugs. We've gone from extension to flexion. And we're going to do that again. We're going to open up, reach long, stretch the arms slightly behind the body line. Feel that stretch. And now come tall. Tilt the chin slightly in the air and extend and lengthen that spine. And now chin towards the chest as we flex the spine and give ourselves a hug the other way up. Excellent. Arms out to the sides and then down. So just reset. I've got my hands on the outside of my thighs. So I'm going to keep the weight even in the feet and I'm not going to sway my hips around as I just move my hand down towards my knee, engage the core to come back up. So keep going, alternate sides. Whereas the last movement involved very much the thoracic spine, which is the mid-back. This one is all about the lumbar spine moving side to side. So can you, keeping the hips still, just squeeze a little bit greater range of motion each time we move through. No need to force it, but just see if the body can naturally get a little bit further down as it warms up. Last one. So we're working down the body. We're going to do a little bit of hip work now. Most important to warm up the hips. So just standing where we are, a little hula, just to release the lower back where we've been working it laterally. And we'll go back the other way. So small hulas just to wake up all those muscles around the hips and around the pelvis. Fantastic. So we're going to test our balance with hip openers. Your arms can be wherever you want them to be to help you balance. You can always keep your feet on the floor and just open up the hips with the foot on the floor if balance is a problem. If it isn't a problem, or if you would like to do a little bit further, lift the knee up to hip height. We're going to keep the hips pointing to the front as we squeeze out to the side. We're going to come back to the center and squeeze down. 2 more this side, so open up. Ooh, can't look at it, this is where I can't look. Squeeze out to the side, so feel it in the hips. Come back to the center. Now keeping that right angle, squeeze the knee back so you can feel it in the hamstrings. And last one, up, squeeze, back, and down. Excellent. Other side, so plant that foot firmly, soften the knee to hip height. Open out, squeeze into that opening, back to the front and squeeze down into the hamstring. 2 more, up, open, forward, and down and squeeze. Last time, up and open, forward and down and squeeze. Last one for this position. We're going to wake up the glutes. So we're going to do a hip hinge, which is half a deadlift really. That's a deadlift without the feet. Feet planted firmly, hip width apart, slightly outwards. I'm going to fold forward from my hips. So my hips are going to go back, my spine is going to stay neutral. I'm going to engage the core, I'm going to look slightly ahead, hinge, till my back comes more or less parallel to the floor. I'm looking ahead, I'm lengthening my spine, engage the glutes, engage the core to stand up. We're going to do that 3 times more. I'm just going to turn around to the side so you can see it from a sideways view as I keep my spine long. I'm not flexing the spine at all. I'm hinging from the hips, engage the core to come up. 2 more. Hinging through, keeping that spine nice and neutral, none of this. Keeping it neutral, engage the glutes to pull us back up. And last one, coming down, squeeze through, engage those glutes and come back up. Keeping those feet in the same position, lightly clasp the hands, hold them at around chin height, and we're going to do some squats, your range of motion. So weight slightly in the heels as we go down and push up. So don't go very far at first, we're going to build up into these, but good squat form applies. So my hips are coming out the back so that my knees don't travel forward of my toes. My weight is slightly in my heels. I am hinging from my hips, keeping my spine long. So I'm looking up. I'm looking up more or less at my hands, which is why they're at chin height. We're going to do 3 more. Keep pushing into those heels, and the muscles we're using are the back of the body. It's called the posterior chain, the calves, the hamstrings, and the glutes. Now we're going to add on same leg motion, flop forward and come tall. So flopping forward, flexing the spine, coming tall. Reach at the top, 2 more. Reach, and last one. Reach. Fantastic. Now bringing the legs a little bit wider than hip width apart. we are going to do some plie squats. Now, plie squats, great for the inner thighs and great for the hips. What we don't do in plie squats is stick our hips out the back. We're going to imagine we're sliding our back down a wall. Before we start, feet 45 degrees more or less and flat on the floor. The temptation is to roll them forwards in this exercise. If your feet are flat on the floor and at around 45 degrees, if you lightly flex your knees, the knees should travel in the direction of the foot, in fact, the direction of the first toe. So if you're happy, knees wide, sink down that wall. Go as low as you can go, hold here, squeeze into the inner thigh and squeeze back up slowly. We're going to do another 4 of these, so just sinking down to your level, sliding that back down the wall, squeeze and up. So it's tension down, so it's squeezing down and squeezing back up again. 2 more, that's all. Squeeze down, squeeze up. Last one, here we go. Squeezing down, keep those feet flat on the floor, the knees wide, and squeeze up. Now bring the legs back to hip width apart for our final exercise. Just give them a little shake if they're a little bit stiff. Feet hip width apart. We're going to fix our hips and our shoulders. So we are going to move in the transverse plane. We're just going to rotate round. Now obviously, if our hips and shoulders are fixed, there's not an awful lot that can move. We're working a little bit of the shoulders, but there's nothing much that's moving here. So keeping the hips fixed, let's release the shoulders. So first thing that happens is we can get a bigger rotation. Let the head and neck go as well. Keep the hips pointing towards the camera here. Just relax the arms, let them go naturally, and you should feel the middle back rotating. And the rotation point somewhere around the bottom of the rib cage, in that sort of area of the spine. But just let the spine go. And now we're going to go the whole way. We're going to release the hips, but as we do, lift the rear heel off the floor so that we're not rotating through the knees. Okay, here we go. So turn and turn and turn. Now just let the arms go, let them relax, and let that body rotate and mobilize through the hips and through the spine for 4 and 3, 2, 1. Excellent. And we're warm. I shall see you for the session. Hello, and welcome to Pilates Session 4. Today we're going to focus on flow, and that is basically keeping going throughout this session. There won't be as many pauses, but I will try and put in modifications and progressions where we should. So are you with me? Let's get going. Okay, on to all fours. So we're going to start with wrists under shoulders, knees under hips, hands and knees hip width apart, long spine looking slightly ahead. Are you ready? Engage that core. Let us go with bent knee rotations. So engage the core. Keeping that knee bent, we're going to stabilize the pelvis and do 5 turns in clockwise, 5 anti-clockwise. So keep that pelvis still and that core engaged. Now the other way. Important not to arch the back, not to move anything else, and only go to a range of motion that you are comfortable with. Leg down, go the other side. So 5 one way. So thinking about your position on the mat. Have you leant over to the opposite direction to balance yourself? Engage the core so that the weight is even on the 3 limbs that are remaining on the floor. 2 and 1. Reset in this position. Now we're going to take knee to elbow. As we do, chin comes to chest and I'm curling the back. I'm stretching out long. Knee to elbow. Stretch, never go past neutral. Knee to elbow. Stretch, really stretch long. 3 glute pulses to the ceiling. 2, 3. Go again. Knee to elbow. Stretch. And stretch at hip height. Engaging that core all the way through. Hip pulses or glute pulses. 1, 2, 3. And now other side. Curl that spine back to neutral. Engaging the core to curl the spine to neutral. Curl, neutral. 3 pulses. 1, 2, 3. Go again. Curl, neutral. Remember, don't sway the body. Stretch and stretch. 1, 2, 3. Great work. Now we're going to come onto our sides, just sitting in a kind of mermaid position. Extend the top leg. Doesn't really matter what this other arm is doing, but extend this leg long. Roll the hips forward so they're stacked, and we're going to pulse upwards. It's going to be tough. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Feeling it. 9, 10. Outside the hips. Now come up onto the knee. We're going to just stretch that off. So a lateral stretch. Push those hips up to the ceiling. Coming down. Going again. So just stretching off those hips. Here we go. And down. Other side. So stacking those hips as best we can. We're going to work into this outer thigh. Here we go. Extend the leg. Keep the foot forward. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. So you should feel it here. Keeping long, raise the hips towards the ceiling. Just stretch off those muscles in the outer hip. Go again. Stretching off and down. Okay, we're coming down onto the mat on our backs in the supine position. Lie long. Make sure we've got enough arch in the spine so the spine is just neutral. We are going to engage the core. We're going to float both legs up to tabletop, not moving the pelvis. So knees above hips, shins parallel to the floor. We're going to curl ourselves up, not for the 100, but for the 50. So curl up, engaging that core, shoulders down. Are we ready? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. In, 2, 3, 4, 5. Out, 2, 3, 4, 5. In, 2, 3, 4, 5. Out, 2, 3, 4, 5. In, 2, 3, 4, 5. In, 2, 3, 4, 5. Out, 2, 3, 4, 5. And in, 2, 3, 4, 5. Excellent. Stretch the legs out. You should feel that in the core. We're coming up to roll-ups. If you don't like these, you can always use a band around the legs. So arms come up. My head, neck, shoulders roll off the mat. And I come up to neutral, come through, leaning over that beach ball. Big space here. And rolling back down with control. 2 more of these, then we're going to add on. So engage that core as we roll up. No jerking, no momentum. We're going to lean forward over that beach ball, stretching that back. Coming and rolling down. Engaging that core, as much control on the way down as there is on the way up. Coming up for the last time. Stretching forward. Now we can do another 3 of these, or we can add on. If you're adding on, come tall, hands just supporting behind the head. We're coming up on the sit bones, squeeze the glutes together, squeeze the thighs together, and lean back with a neutral spine. We'll only go a short way. Hold there. Now curl on down. With control, coming up in a roll up. So stretching forward again, coming up to neutral, shoulders back and down, leaning back, squeezing those glutes together to support us, and now curling as we roll down. Last time, up we come forward, hands up, coming tall, glutes together, hinge back, and rolling back down. Now from here, we're going into ab raises, so either with bent knees or straight legs, we're going to raise the lower part of the body off the floor. So try to only come up so your weight is between your shoulder blades. Bent legs are absolutely fine. If you want to add on, coming on up, keep that space between the ribs and the hips and bring the legs to parallel with the floor. Lift up, roll down. 2 more. Up we come, over with the legs, up and roll down, and last time. Up, over, up we come again, and rolling on down. Now from here, one leg comes straight, the other leg, I pull the knee up towards my body. So I'm curling my head and shoulders off the mat, engaging the core, keep the pelvis stable for single leg stretch. So stretch, one leg remains off the floor, I'm engaging my core as I pull myself towards my knee. I'm having stability in my core. Legs can be on the floor if you want them to. 4, 3, 2, 1. Now from here, we're going to go to double leg stretch. You can stay with singles if you would like to. So both legs stretch out, keep that curl, engage the core, stretch the arms away, and sweep round. So sweep round and stretch away. Hold there. 2 more. Stretching away. Stretch, stretch, stretch. And down. Last time, stretch. And come up from here. We're coming into a little bit of mobility. So sitting up straight on the sit bones, neutral spine. Feet flexed towards you, you can bend the knees if you need. Arms out to the side. We're going to do the saw. So shoulders down, turning from the waist, keeping both hips on the floor. I'm going to lean forward and stretch. Now I'm leaning over my right leg. I'm pushing my left hip onto the floor so it's not rising. Come round. Go again. Now I'm leaning over my left and pushing my right hip down. The same for both sides again. So rotate round, coming down. Up we come, lead with the body, body rotates, hinge forward. Leave that gap, push the opposite hip down, and come up tall. Nice one. So, we're going to start balancing. Here we go. In our balance, I'm tucking my tailbone under, I'm engaging my core. We're just balancing on a mat. And I'm just going to tap, tap, tapping my legs. From here, I'm going to grab hold of my calves and continue to tap. Just holding on to my calves, my shins, whatever is comfortable for you. Remember, keeping that pelvis tucked towards you. Can you do both legs? And lastly, can you lift up one, lift up the other, lift up one, lift up the other. Can we balance for both? Hold there, stretch and engage that core. 2, 1. Excellent work. Legs down. We're going to have one leg a little bit away from the body on the mat. The other one is going to be extended away. We are going to roll down with control, keeping those knees at the same angle. We're going to roll up into a teaser. You can always have a band round the legs. You can have a band round this foot here, pulling you up. One more. And roll up. Now from here, I'm just going to rotate. I'm going to do 2 more of these. Come on up. Rotate round, keep that leg extended. Down and up we come. Rotate, up and down. Same thing the other side, so extend the other leg. Give this leg a bit of space and rolling on down. Shoulders relaxed, but down as we come up into a teaser. 3 plain ones to start off with. That's the first, second. Keep that core engaged as we come up. Now we're going to rotate over that leg that's supporting us and down. 2 more. Up we come. Rotate and down and up we come. Rotate, round and down. Excellent work. So from here, back is long. Feet are a little bit away from the body. I'm going to engage the core and work the hips. Taking the right leg, I'm going to just drop it out to the side without moving my hip position and bring it back up. Twice more. So drop the right leg out to the sides without moving the hips, and up, down, and up. Now do the same with the left leg. So the core is engaged. We're moving through the hips. And up, doesn't matter if the knee doesn't get to the floor. Down, engage, up, down, engage, up. Now from here, bring the feet together. We're going to drop both knees out at the same time in the butterfly. Now as your knees come out, push that lower back towards the floor. Don't let it arch up. So push the lower back down. Feel the stretch in the inner thighs. So feel that stretch. Now squeeze the feet together. Really squeeze the soles of the feet together hard and push those hips upwards towards the ceiling. Feel it in the glutes, maybe in the hamstrings as well. If you want to get it more in the glutes, try moving your feet and heels a little bit closer to the body. Push up once more. Feel those glutes working. We're going to do 8 pulses. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Down we come. Excellent work. We are going to do a normal bridge now. So feet quite near the body, so heels quite near the body. Tip that pelvis towards us. Push those hips up to the ceiling in one movement. We are going to lift the leg up towards the ceiling and 5 drops. So keeping the hips square onto the ceiling. 1, 2, bring it up. 3, 4, 5. Now hold the foot off the floor, make the leg parallel to the mat as we drop the hips and raise. Drop, raise another 3, drop, 2 and 1. Great work, other side. So up we come. Get those hips square, heel to the mat and up. Heel to the mat, up, another 3. Keep those hips square to the ceiling. And now down, legs extended, parallel to the mat, hips are high and level. 5 hip drops. 1 and 2. Oops, I'm not parallel to the mat. 3, 4 and 5. Excellent. So from here, we're going to go onto our sides. Now we'll do something we haven't done for a while. We're going to lay on our sides, back parallel to the back of the mat, feet slightly forward, hips are stacked, and we're going to support our head on our arm on our hand here, we are going to do a grand leg circle. So this is another one for the hips. So a grand leg circle, engage that core, support yourself at the front here, as big a circle as you can do, keeping the hips as still as you can. We're going to do 4 one way, and then 4 the other way. 1, 2, and 3. You can make these as big as you want. 4. Fantastic work. Now coming up onto our forearms, we're going to do a side plank. Your side plank can either be on the knees or it can be on the feet. We're going to stretch long, whichever one you're doing. Lots of space between ear and shoulder. Knee to elbow, here we go for 6. So knee to elbow, stretch, tap to the front, back. Keep those hips high. That's 3, that's halfway. Keep the hips long, keep the hips stacked. This is all about length as well. Last one coming up. Excellent work. Now I'm going to drop down. I'm going to go onto all 4s. So it's not quite a 4-point kneeling. This is 4-point kneeling back with forearms in the front, and I'm just lightly clasping my hands. We're going to do a salamander. So I'm going to take my left leg, I'm going to extend it along the mat till it's straight, and I'm going to drop my left hip onto the mat and come back up. Put it back. Now the other leg, so extend along the mat, keeping the symmetry in the front of the body as we drop the hip, engage the obliques to come back up. Now again, both sides, so extend that leg, drop the hip down, touch the mat, come back up, and extend. Keeping that symmetry at the front, the long line at the back, using the core and the obliques to come up. We're going to do 2 more either side. If you want to add on, extend the leg but keep it off the mat. So extending that leg, keep it off the mat, now drop the hip, and as you drop the hip, still keep that leg off the mat, up and back. So extend, raised off the mat, drop the hip down, keep that leg off the mat as we lift ourselves up and back. 1 more either side. Your choice of level. Down we come, keeping that leg extended, up and back. Last time, extend the leg off the mat, drop it down, coming back up and back. Excellent work. So from here, we're just going to do a spine extension. So we are going to put our hands near our shoulders. We are going to squeeze and elongate our glutes and inner thighs. So I'm squeezing and activating the lower half of my body. My core is engaged. I'm pulling my tummy button off the mat and my shoulders are away from my ears. As I now just come up, I push lightly into my hands and I elongate and stretch and lengthen the spine of the body. So there is now a big gap between the crown of my head and the soles of my feet, and I'm really stretching. And now just come down and relax. 1 more of these. We're going to come up, lengthen and extend, engaging the core to make sure we're not hinging through the lower back. Lengthen, 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 stretch, 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 and down. Now we're doing 2 more. You can add on if you want. We're going to lengthen through, stay with the original one if you want to, or alternatively just rock, 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 hold down. Now that might not be great if you're on a carpet. You might want to put a towel underneath the pelvis. So one more time. Up we come. Stretching away. Engaging that whole body. So we're stuck in this extended position and just rock. Lightly push with the hands. So we're just lightly rocking. 2, 1, and relax. Excellent. Now that is very strong for the lower back, so please watch out if necessary. So we're going to do the other side set. My back is parallel to the back of the mat. My feet are visible. My hips are stacked. And I'm going to support myself on the mat with my upper arm. Engaging the core. Here we go. 4 big circles in one direction. As big as you can go. Keeping that pelvis as still as you can, always resetting it. That's 3. And that is 4. Back the other way. So 4 rotations. You might be able to do much bigger circles than me. Just depends on how warm you are and what your body feels like today. Last one. Excellent work. So from here up onto the forearm, plenty of space between ear and shoulder. Remember, either on knee or on feet. So here we go, pushing the hips up to the ceiling, 6 knee to elbow touches. Knee to elbow and tap. Keep that length and keep the hip high. Push, stretch that leg. We're halfway. Tap. And tap and lengthen away. Hips up, last one. Here we go. Stretch, tap, bump. Great work. Well, that was a quick, flowing set of Pilates 4 exercises. I hope you enjoyed them. Stay safe, keep well, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye. Hello, welcome to our Pilates Cooldown. Are you ready to go? Okay, we're back onto our backs. So we're laying down, just relaxing on the mat. So we're in rest position. My legs are relaxed, my feet on the floor. My spine is long along the mat, my shoulders down and my head and neck relaxed, looking at the ceiling. Put the arms out to the sides, feet and knees together, and now gently drop those knees down to one side, being careful not to arch your back. So keep the shoulders on the floor as much as possible, and just breathe into that stretch of the lower back. Keep breathing in. And now push up with the lower leg and drop the knees the other side. So feel again that stretch in the lower back as we try and keep our shoulders on the floor. Holding here. Breathe slowly into that stretch and feel the lower back relaxing. So push up with the lower knee and drop the knees back onto the first side, but this time we're bringing the arms round to meet them. Now, if you need to, this is the time to put a small towel just under your head to prop the head up just a little bit. If you're okay, carry on. We're going to keep the knees and the ankles together. Hands out here. I'm going to open up, keeping the knees and ankles together. I'm going to open up in a chest stretch. So this time, the stretch should be felt more in the middle of the back. And of course across the stretch. Keep across the chest. Keep moving and keep pushing those knees and those ankles together. Breathe into that. Now if you're not feeling this stretch, extend the lower leg out. Let that front knee just roll forward. So we're now rotating just a little bit more through the body. And you should now feel a bit more of a stretch in the middle of the spine. Fantastic work. We're going to do this the other side. Now you can just roll over I am going to just turn around so I'm still facing the camera. So we're laying on our side, arms out the front, knees and ankles together. Towel under head if you need. And open out into a chest stretch. So feel the stretch through that mid-back and of course across the chest. Breathe into that stretch, making sure we're not arching the back. If you want to increase the stretch further, extend the lower leg, drop the roll the top knee towards the mat, and we've just got that little bit more stretch in the body itself. That's it. Back to our starting position. We're rolling over onto our backs once more with our legs bent, and we're going to do some hamstring stretches. So with one leg bent, lift one leg up towards the ceiling. Doesn't have to be totally straight if you can't. Hold behind the thigh or behind the calf, not behind the knee. And walk that extended leg towards your body. Only go as far as it is uncomfortable. It shouldn't be painful. So hold when you get to that point of resistance, just hold. Breathe into that stretch, relax the body as much as you can and feel the pull in the upper back of the leg. It should begin to subside as the stretch reflex decreases. Once this happens, if you can and if you want to, just walk the foot a little bit nearer to the body and hold it again. And breathe into it. Great, now just gently put that leg down. We're going to do the same with the other leg. So lift the other leg up towards the ceiling, holding behind the thigh or behind the calf. Walk the leg towards you until you feel the pull in the hamstrings, uncomfortable but not painful. When you get to that point of resistance, hold and breathe into that stretch. So breathing through, holding those legs, and just let that stretch reflex subside. Once it has done, just walk the foot just a little bit closer to the body. Again, shouldn't be painful. You should be able to feel it, but it should not be painful. Hold for 3, for 2, for 1. Great. Gently put this foot down. Take the first leg, put the ankle over the knee. We're going to pulse the raised knee away from and towards the body. So this is working the outer thigh and the glutes. So towards and away. At the same time, I'm going to take the same hand as the knee that's pulsing. I'm going to put it just below the knee, and now I'm going to bring the knee towards the body and resist it with the hand. So you will feel it in the core. Keep pressing the lower back towards the mat, and you'll feel it as well in the inner thigh. So just squeeze and hold for 3, for 2, for 1. Now release and lightly lift that supporting leg off the mat. Bring it towards you, and you'll now feel a greater stretch in the outer thigh and the glutes. So just keep stretching. If you want to, you can gently just pulse. It's a bit more of an active stretch. So 3, 2, 1. While we're here and on this leg, drop the foot down. Completely cross one leg over the other. So very relaxed. It looks as though we're just settling down to watch a bit of TV. But what we're going to do is bring the upper knee towards us. Hold both shins. Bring them towards the chest bone, the sternum, breastbone. Lift the head up if you want to and pull the knees towards the body. Now you should feel it in the same side as we've just been stretching, but it's a different muscle. It's a different muscle in the glute called the piriformis, and that did a lot of work in the clam. So keep squeezing, hold for 3, for 2, for 1, and relax. Now swap legs. First time we're going to put ankle over knee and gently pulse the raised knee away from and towards the body. So So gently pulsing, getting a little bit of active stretching through the outer thighs. Take this hand of the knee that's pulsing, put it below the knee, engage the core as you bring the knee towards the body, oppose it with the hand, and make sure that the lower back doesn't raise off the mat. And squeeze, and really squeeze, you should feel it in the thigh as well. 3, 2, 1. And gently release and slowly lift the supporting leg off the mat. So now increasing the stretch down the outside of this thigh and into the glute. We're going to pulse, just gently. 3, 2, 1. Dropping that supporting leg back down onto the mat. I'm going to fully cross the legs. Again, make sure we're not arching the lower back off the floor. Keep it nice and neutral. Engage the core as I bring both knees towards the sternum. Squeeze and hold on to both shins. And if you want to, just lift your head towards the front knee as well. Really pull the knees up towards the chin and feeling that stretch across in the piriformis muscle. Hold for 3, for 2, for 1. Excellent. Knees back down. We're going to come up to a kneeling position. So, the final stretch is to stretch the hip flexors. So I'm going to put one foot forward. I'm going to push my hips forward. I'm going to push them forward, keeping my spine neutral without arching, so I can feel the stretch up the front of my leg. That's the hip flexor. So first of all, get that stretch. Now, raise the same arm up in the air as the knee is on the mat. Reach that arm to the ceiling. So we're now increasing the stretch in the hip flexor, pulling it upwards, and we've got a bit of a stretch in the obliques as well. Now 3 pulses over the raised legs. 1, 2, 3. Come back up, stretch the arms wide, reaching wide towards the walls. We're going to turn around, keeping this T position and move the transverse plane. So shoulders down, just rotate over that raised leg, and 3 small pulses. Back to the front. We'll do the other leg. Here we go. So pushing those hips forwards. So feeling the stretch in the hip flexor. I'm going to stretch forward and now raising up. So you're feeling the stretch here, feeling the stretch up there. Really reach. And 1, 2, 3. And arms out to the side. Turning and rotating over that raised leg. 3 small pulses. And back to the front. Excellent work. Well done. I'll see you for the next session. Until then, keep well, stay safe. Bye-bye.